I never realized how crushing silence could feel until that night. The clatter of cutlery, the background chatter, and the faint tune drifting from the restaurant speakers all blurred together into a dull roar the instant her words landed. You know, sometimes I think I might have settled too early. She said it with a casual laugh, flicking her hair back, wine glass lifted halfway to her lips. The others around the table gave uneasy chuckles, torn between amusement and discomfort. I didn't. I just froze, staring at her, fork suspended midair, roast chicken growing cold on my plate. Settled too early. 9 years of marriage. A shared apartment, bills, late-night laughter, arguments, compromises. I thought we were weaving a future together. And here she was, in front of friends, wondering aloud if she had chosen the wrong man. I didn't press her for answers. I wasn't going to give her the drama she wanted. Instead, I set my napkin neatly on the table, pushed back my chair, and left, slipping into the cold night air. The chill bit through my clothes, but the fire burning in my chest kept me warm. I walked without direction, past glowing storefronts and couples hand in hand, until I ended up by the river. The water shimmered under the streetlights, indifferent to my turmoil. I wanted to dismiss her comment as a careless, wine-fueled joke. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. Words like that only surface when truth is pressing against the seams. And her truth had been leaking out in little ways for months. The late nights at work that stretched into happy hour drinks. The sudden bursts of text she'd hide with a quick flick of the screen. The way she dressed differently whenever she claimed she was just meeting colleagues. I ignored it all, convinced myself I was paranoid. But her remark cracked the facade. When I finally went home, the house was dark, her car absent. I sat on the couch waiting, scrolling through my phone without actually reading. At 1:13 a.m., headlights swept across the curtains. She walked in reeking of perfume and whiskey, heels tapping against the tiles. "Why'd you walk out like that?" she asked, tossing her purse onto the counter. "You embarrassed me." I let out a sharp laugh. "I embarrassed you." She blinked, feigning confusion. "It was a joke, Mark." Everyone laughed. "No," I answered quietly. "They laughed because they don't know what I know." That made her pause, brows knitting together. "What are you talking about?" For a moment, I nearly said it, nearly accused her outright. But I had no proof. Only suspicions and that damned slip of the tongue. So I kept my silence, stood, and headed upstairs, closing the bedroom door behind me. The evidence. Over the following week, I became someone I never imagined, an investigator in my own marriage. I combed through phone records, bank statements, social media posts from her colleagues' nights out. And then, on a Thursday afternoon, I found it. An email. Not hidden, just poorly deleted, still lingering in her trash folder. "Last night was incredible. I can still taste you. Counting down to the conference next month." My stomach lurched. The sender, Daniel Reeves, her department head. I remembered his smug grin at last year's Christmas party, the way he complimented her dress just a little too warmly. I stared at the screen until my shaking hands steadied, then quietly forwarded the message to my private account before closing her laptop. The confrontation that never came. I thought I'd call her out immediately. God knows I rehearsed it 100 times, the shouting, the accusations, the tearful breakdown. But when she came home that evening, humming softly as she slipped off her heels, pouring herself a glass of wine, smiling at a message on her phone, I just watched. It wasn't only the betrayal that cut deep. It was the ease with which she carried on, as though I were nothing more than background noise in her shiny new life. So I waited. I planned. Dinner, round 2. A week later, she suggested we go out together. "I feel like we've been distant," she said sweetly, brushing her fingers along my arm. "Let's fix that." We ended up at the same restaurant. Same table. The irony nearly made me laugh. She ordered wine. I ordered water. Midway through the meal, she leaned closer. "Mark, are you happy with us?" I studied her face. Somewhere inside was the woman I married, but this version had secrets etched beneath her skin. "Are you?" I asked back. Her lips curled into a faint smile. "Of course. Why wouldn't I be?" I wanted to slam my fist on the table, shove the email in her face, scream because you're sleeping with your boss, Claire. But I didn't. The very next morning, I sat across from a lawyer. We discussed the realities, division of assets, shared accounts, what evidence would hold weight. His advice was steady: keep calm, gather proof, don't let her suspect a thing. So, I played the role she expected. The oblivious husband. I kissed her cheek before she left for those late meetings. I trimmed the lawn. I cooked dinner. Outwardly, I was steady. Inside, I was quietly constructing my exit. The last straw. It arrived 3 weeks later at another dinner party with mutual friends. Same circle, same polite banter, the same brittle laughter. And then she said it again. I guess sometimes I wonder if I settled too early. Only this time, her smile was tighter, her voice carrying an edge sharpened by truth rather than wine. Something inside me shut down. I didn't respond. I didn't argue. I simply placed my napkin on the table, stood up, and walked away. But unlike before, I didn't return home. The fallout. That night, my phone lit up 17 times with her calls and 5 messages. By morning, her tone shifted, confusion giving way to anger, then panic. Where are you? You're acting childish. Mark, please, let's talk. I didn't answer. Instead, I forwarded her the email. No explanation. Just the subject line, I know. 2 hours later, she was at my brother's house, pounding on the door, mascara streaking down her cheeks. Mark, please, she whispered when I finally opened it. It's not what you think. Then explain it, I replied, my voice cold. She faltered, then exhaled heavily. It was a mistake. It meant nothing. I shook my head. You humiliated me in front of our friends. You joked about our marriage at dinner tables. And you call that nothing? Tears welled in her eyes. I was lonely. You were always working, always exhausted. Stop, I cut her off. You made a choice. And now I'm making mine. The choice. The divorce went through without spectacle. I never told our friends the truth. I didn't destroy her reputation, though the temptation lingered. Still, the email found its way anonymously to HR. She lost the promotion she had been chasing for months. She kept the apartment. I walked away with my self-respect intact. Reflection. It's strange how betrayal doesn't shatter your world in one loud crash. It seeps into it like slow poison, changing who you are until you barely recognize yourself. I often replay that night in my mind. The dinner where everything unraveled. One careless sentence, delivered with a glass of wine and a smirk, pulled the mask from our life. If she hadn't said it, would I still be there? Living the lie? Smiling across a table at a woman who had already left me in every way but name? Maybe. But betrayal isn't just about the act itself. It's about the instant you realize the person you trusted above all else was always capable of it. And for me, that realization came with the sound of laughter, the taste of wine, and words I will never forget.